Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screamers for Scripture / the FIREBRAND channel doing an interview today. I had the honor of interviewing all the vocalists on the Saints and Heathens Tour, plus Trevor. Sadly, Heal the Hurt was not on this package, but he was there that night and able to do Still Haunted and all that cool stuff, so I was able to chat with him as well. It was a huge blast, but first, before we hop into it, I have to say, I'm an idiot. I messed up some of the audio recording because I was trying to set up in their green room, and some of this equipment I actually haven't used before. Some of it was borrowed. Anyway, it's a long story. With that, on top of some of the bands had to do sound checks and eventually started playing. So some parts the audio sounds a little weird, but most of it sounds great. Most of it. So just wanted to give a slight warning there. Also, I'm not at my normal setup because I'm traveling right now. So everything's a little messed up today. Thank you for watching. I'll be back at the end because the interview got cut short. And yeah, thank you for watching. Enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screamers for Scripture. My name is Brandon, and today I am joined by the Saints and Heathens Tour. The feet truck, sorry. Yeah, how are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good.
Excellent.
We're done sound check outside. It's going through.
We have enough backup mics too.
As we crack the game.
Get as slow and low as possible. We have Stephen Coates, we have Christian from Meadows, Trevor from Meadows. He's not on the score, he just tagged along.
He's on it tonight, anyway.
And Danny from No Treaty. How's the tour been treating you guys?
It's been great.
I mean, you're still a part of it now, so.
Not great.
I mean, we're like from this area, so I'm really curious to hear your answer.
Well, it was Ray, your guitarist, who's standing up when he gets shut up, and we're in sorry. I'm getting hurt, Ray. That's what we call it in the UK. It's been unbelievable. We've had a phenomenal time, and genuinely, it has been a pleasure being on stage with these three fine gentlemen and the four tonight. So it's an absolute blessing to be here, to be as a unit traveling through the sound. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's been it's one of those where I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but like a lot of times, like my wife will text me like, "Hey, where are you?" And I'm like, "Are you meaning like what building am I in, or like what city, or what state?" Because I kind of know some of those answers half of the time.
Right.
I'll like wake up and I'm like, honestly, we drove and we stopped and we kind of slept and then we kept driving and I just never fully know where I'm at until I'm at the venue. Right.
So there's been a few drives on this.
We this is your first headline for the US, right?
Yes, sir, it is. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know how it feels playing all these American, God bless America.
Yes.
All of these American venues, both you guys having done this several times. You were on the Next Store, and you know that. I don't want to tell you. And you having done the UK shows, and now coming here. I guess you kind of answered that. I don't want to get into that.
I mean, I feel like an imposter. If I'm perfectly honest, to be in a position where we can take out friends and people who we genuinely like. I've been saying to Christian, like Christian and I have been talking books ever since you signed the place. I'm holding you like you're my brother. And we have been trying for like some kind of show out. And the moment we could do it, I hit him up. We was like, let's do it. Let's play some shows together. And then Danny and the guys in No Treaty, Trevor was just like, hey, let's make this happen. And it was like, these boys are sick. The great that I think the latest part, you'll first have a show. Get us in the US.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of firsts. Like he said, first show This is No Treaty's first tour, and this is actually my first tour. Like all the other guys in No Treaty have toured before, so for me it's real special. A lot of firsts here.
It's also your first time committing a war song against the UK
Yeah.
by having a cup of tea and a plastic cup.
Declared open war. I'm sure I'll be extradited soon enough.
The crazy thing is, like, when I heard about this tour package, it wasn't like, oh, let's get Heal to Hurt on it. I was like, man, No Treaty would be friggin' sweet for this package.
Right.
And it's like, I'm excited to see it. Like, from a fan perspective, I get to see, like, now 4 amazing bands tonight. The Tarnished is playing. It's gonna be great. Like, there are already people lining up wearing shirts for all of our bands, which is pretty incredible. I was going to park my van in the back, and people are walking with our shirts on, and I'm like, huh, okay. Yeah, it's a wild thing.
Never get used to that.
No, it's insane. The fact that you guys can come to another country and headline a tour, that's a big move. And to support such a record, like, y'all's new album is a contender for album of the year already.
That's what I would say.
Easy.
I don't want this to turn into your baddest. Because
I mean, y'all are terrible, but the record's good.
you made the record, brother. You and Tommy on Still
What a producer can do for a band.
Yeah, right. Today. Hey, enough money. I'm gonna get him on.
If you bat 100 times, did home run once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, like, honestly, it feels surreal, and the first 3 shows have been absolutely incredible. Like, have exceeded all expectations. And I know you guys. And what's great as well is we've been sat in the back going, right, when No Treaty come off and when Meadows come off, we're going. Then they're just going because they are near to see the American bands, and everyone's staying and they're having an amazing time. I genuinely feel humbled to be in this position, and it's because of people like guys that are building what feels like a really solid like community Christian scene, something that we don't have in the again. We talked about on the interview that we had a couple of weeks ago, and it feels incredible to come over and be a part of it at least.
And even tagging on to the Christian scene thing, making music is expensive.
Yeah.
And then touring is also expensive. Like getting a van, trailer, all this stuff, none of it's cheap. So the fact that you guys are able to go out successfully and take something back home, that's a win. Like, I don't think any of us got into this to be rich. Like, it would be nice. Like, I'm not going to say no to it if it were knocking on the door. But if nobody were to show up to shows, would we still be making music? And the answer is yes. Like, I don't make music based on people's opinion of what metalcore should sound like. I know that I've been a broken person in my life and have struggled a lot with my mental health. And metalcore was like God used it like a blanket of peace to cover me in those moments where I didn't want to live anymore. That's why I make music. And being able to come support friends in shows like this, there's nothing like it.
Wow. Well, I mean, it might not do it to be rich, but, you know, lay your treasures up in heaven.
Like I said, I'm down. I'm so down.
Not a bad benefit. I know this is a sort of off-topic question, but Trevor, I actually did want to know, have you been able to prepare for your part that you're going to be doing It's So Hard tonight?
Yeah. How deep we want to get today. It's been like a rough week, and you don't always feel like you want to show up somewhere all the way down to the 11th hour. But when you get there, you're so grateful you did. And people ask a lot, how do you overcome anxiety to do this and such? And it's like, I guess we'll figure it out. It's a beautiful thing to be able to continue to show up even when you don't feel like it, but it takes a lot of work to get there. So to answer your question, yeah, like even if we're just doing like a festival day, like I start conditioning and practicing our set like 2 weeks before, because it's not out of fear, it's just out of people are paying money to come to this, and I want to do the best I can. And I know if I'm gonna do the best I can, I better practice like my breathing work, moving around, and also using my voice, especially getting into these summer months. Like it's hot in here right now. So yeah, definitely been practicing.
That's really inspiring. Because that's a nerve-wracking thing to do for anybody. And you were talking about when we spoke on the podcast.
There is no one size fits all blueprint. Fortunately, yet unfortunately, you just have to keep showing up. Because the moment you start dipping, like I wanted to do, you continue to do that. And what kind of blessings did you knock out because you didn't show up, you didn't get uncomfortable?
Yep.
There is no right or wrong way to approach your feelings, but at the end of the day, they are just that, feelings. Feelings come and feelings go. So in my experience, it's been so much better for me to just keep showing up and fight through those feelings versus just hide from them like I used to do. One of the decisions I had to make when I started this band is, hey, you're gonna have to get uncomfortable and you're gonna have to show up when you don't feel like it. And that's still true to this day. So
Yeah, I completely relate to that. Completely with that. I remember the first tour we did in the US, and we'd been asked to come over by Convictions. I was laying in bed. Did you ever see their old band, the Bullet Train? Yeah. Oh, dude, that thing's a death trap. But the random shows, it was amazing. But I remember being 2 shows in, lying in the back of that van, going, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, yeah, genuinely, the first time we've ever toured America, we'd released an album that's doing really well. You know, we're growing as a band, and I sat there going, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And sometimes those thoughts creep in, and they can get the better of you. And then I remember waking up the next day going, oh, I love this. I love this. And it can be so big to but it can be so all-consuming in that moment that it fills you full of the most devastating self-doubt I've ever had. So I can relate to it.
And just think, like, how many people decide they want to pursue their calling just because you showed up to do yours?
Yes. Yeah.
Not that we do it for that, but, like, we don't not do it for that.
Yeah, it's like you have to think, like, making yourself smaller in the big picture of it, and like at the same time, like no one's playing your role for you. But if I don't go when I'm followed, like I'm not gonna be able to make the connection I'm supposed to make with that specific person, and then that person will not connect in the way that they're supposed to with the next. And it's like you just kind of think about this ripple effect of where, you know, it's not me, the two of them. You just gotta go, and when you're called, you have to really decide on what voice you're gonna listen to.
Yeah.
Right.
I think like you guys are talking about this. I think it's such a great thing that you're experiencing the anxiety for it all, because it's better that than to be indifferent to it, where I'm just going to show up and do another thing and have another conversation, because it allows you to focus in and be very intentional and consider all the things that you're going to say, all you're going to do. I mean, both of you have been incredibly helpful for me on the first one. I just go out here and I go 100%, you know, because we've just been playing one-offs. And then to hear it from you guys, like I've got to, you know, do whatever I need to do to, you know, carry on through the rest of this. But I mean, it's like everything else. I got to be very focused on what I'm doing, think about what I'm doing. That way I can be there for the other people that I'm going to talk to afterward. Yeah. So
they don't get to just change their streams. Yeah. It's like, I keep trying to tell the guys, I'm like, yo, I may seem like a prima donna, but like, I can't just
Better get the best bet tonight.
I can't just like
You get a bed?
You get a bet.
Wow. Okay. So that went a little deep quick. I love that. That's a good thing. Not complaining.
You're talking to four singers of full very emotion feature a metalcore band. Yeah.
I guess what did I expect, right?
You are, yeah, you've got no choice.
I'm not emotional.
When you talk about it. I do want to have, because on the left of the couch, we get. I mean, you guys dropped the debut eight. You have debut EPs that dropped just last year, and you guys have been doing music. It's not like you guys have been doing it for decades, but you've been doing this a little bit longer. So I do want to know, what is the difference? Have you feel like you've had more time? Has it gotten easier? And you guys feel like you've been dropped head first, or do you feel like it's just the same, no matter what, no matter how much experience you get?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. Thank you.
I don't think it gets easier, which is the funny. Which is like, yo, I've been saying this whole time, boy. I'm cruising. It doesn't get easier, but what you do is you get better at the difficult. You get better at dealing with the harder situations. So I think Danny was talking about, day one he was going absolutely ham, and he was like starting to lose his voice by day two. And then Christian and I would like chat to him, like, just look back a little bit, and that's something that you learn. And then it doesn't get easier on your voice because you're fundamentally just screaming. It's dumb. Like you're shouting as loud as you can. But what happens is you something happens, and then you realize you've dealt with it, and then you go, okay, well, next time that happens, I'm able to deal with it again, and then. Okay, well, maybe that's not exactly the same thing, but it's similar. I've conquered that before. So I think from my perspective, especially being 5,000 miles away from home, I can say this is the third time we've been in the US, but it's our first headline. There's so many challenges that we faced along the way of getting in, but I've done it before, and I'm gonna be coming back, and I'm gonna be doing it again. So for me, and I've seen you kind of nodding away there. You just get better at it.
Yeah.
You get better at it. And let me tell you, it took years to not easy. It's not easy.
Well, it's like, I think truly, like, it'll travel at the speed of your relationships, both internally and externally with the band. Like, you've had the same lineup, apart from losing Brandon last year. It was like 12 years, and so to find people that are talented, like-minded, mission-oriented, align the doctrine, and you understand that when I say something at a microphone, I'm representing you as well as me, things like that. So that turns into when you have real spats or disagreements, or everyone has a role and an understood assignment to accomplish the same goal, and to kind of just know where your limitations, where your boundaries are as a unit, and then also just watching each of these guys at the merch table, and the way that Steve will come around the table and hug someone around the neck, know them by name, and that kind of stuff carries them further as well. And so it's and those things they'll pop up, and they'll be lasting relationships when you're on the road, and when you go back to places and you meet somewhere, someone to bail you out of a tight situation, and in a city that you're not familiar with or something like that. So I think the relationships you make and invest in both inside the band and outside the band, as far as time goes, time can only really build that degree. So I'm really thankful for that, I would say.
And when it comes to writing, for my band, we don't stop. And I've been on this challenge the last 4 to 6 months of writing one song a day, because I forgot if it was Rick Rubin or Russ or somebody said that if you write a song a day, eventually you won't suck at it. And it's that is very true. You might not come up with a whole thing, and you might not revisit whatever you wrote on one day until 4 months, 6 months down the line, but you keep showing up and pouring your heart into it. Eventually it'll come to fruition. I've had the opportunity to work with artists for the last decade before I stepped into being a frontman myself, and being able to be on marketing teams and seeing how the big dogs roll their stuff out, I hope that I'm able to pass that on to other people within our scene that aren't, like, we're likely not going to get signed. Like, it's a very independent project. Knowing how to do it yourself is a big thing, and you can learn anything you want to on YouTube. So if you're not good at something, start doing it every day. And a lot of artists don't want to do content, and they want to, I can't say that word, they want to complain about it a lot and don't want to show up and do content. And it's like, okay, have fun sitting at home. Like, be willing to step out of your comfort zone and build something, or somebody else will, and they will show up. And it goes back into that anxiety thing we were talking about. If I'm not there, somebody else will be. So it's like, it's that double-edged sword. Like, okay, like, am I going to show up today? Am I going to be willing to maybe look dumb on this TikTok video? And it's like, I'm not the best at being consistent with that, but I challenge myself on it. And that's like the biggest thorn to an artist's side, is having to do that. So whether it's writing a debut EP like we just did, collabing with your homies, writing an album, going on your first tour, show up. That's all you can do.
I think for us in No Treaty, I mean, a lot of these guys are very much used to, moderately successful bands, from the South. They've done a lot of things, but none of us expected anything to blow up like it did with this EP. So it's a lot of uncharted territory. And certainly for me, I mean, I'm used to having a lot of stability with the military and, being able to know things. You train for the unknown, but this was nothing I could train for. And really, none of the guys could tell me enough to get myself ready for this. What would I expect? And, just to be real open here, like, day 2, like, me and my wife got into a huge fight, and I've gotten into fights with my wife while I was deployed or whatever, and it's, like, you deal with it, but nothing prepares you to do it on the road when you're trying to go minister to other people and invest in their life, and you really have to serve through it, as it were, and embrace the suck of it all, right? I don't know, it's new, but I love it. Like, we'll do it again, so.
And it's like, you're being vulnerable talking about these things. It's not necessarily complaining. There is a big difference. And being away from home and not being in your bed, and I can't imagine, like, having a family at home. That's gotta be 100 times worse, but, like, it takes a lot out of you, like, emotionally, physically, and mentally to do this. And I'm genuinely just still grateful to be in the room, and I hope I never lose that. Like, I don't expect anything. I'm literally just grateful to be here.
Great stuff. It would have been more great stuff, but we went a little long, and the first band, The Tarnished, a great band, by the way, you should listen to them, but they had to, the show had started by that point, and some of the audio was not recoverable after that point. I bet you can imagine. But I went on to ask everybody why, since this is so difficult doing touring and stuff, and it can feel like a chore at times, why do they always come back? And they had a bunch of variety of great answers, and I'm sure that these are going to be guests that I have again, so they can probably say it themselves and say it the beautiful way they said it at the show that evening. But they basically said it's because of people like you. You guys who come to the show and support them every single time they come to town, and the lives that they get to change, it makes every second worth it to them. So thank you for supporting small to large bands like theirs. Also a quick thank you to Danny, Trevor, Christian, and Steven for joining me on the show today. It was a blast chatting with you guys. And an extra thank you to Steven for getting this all together, because he had the idea initially and, got everyone to put up with me for about 30 minutes. Thank you for watching. God made you special, and he loves you very much.